lofty seclusion on the topmost mountain ridges in the state of Washington is of unbelievable enchantment. Here the vistas are rose, towering as the snow-capped peaks. Here the heather-scented breeze flirts with fresh young lakelets, transparent pools newly born of melting glaciers. Unmindful of the workaday world, this land communes with the cloud-swept heavens above it. Travel to and fro below its outskirts, never guessing what scenic wonderland lies hidden above their limited view. For the land of enchantment only begins where the steepest forest trails have ended. He who would look upon its innermost sanctuaries must be willing and able to take a pack upon his back. He must know how to pick his footing over an uncharted thoroughfare. This passage can be grueling at times, blocked by tortured granite walls, intercepted by sleeping glaciers, entwined in the jealous embrace of protecting forests. Faint hearts will never find the way there. None but the hardiest adventurers will want to try. The land beyond the forest trails is closely guarded by nature's most impregnable barriers, and yet a privileged few have gained access there. Among this number is a group of outdoor enthusiasts aptly called the Trailblazers. These fellows form a unique clan, numbering less than 40 picked members. In their 13 years of existence as an organized group, they've made countless back-breaking but soul-satisfying treks into the mountain strongholds. Unobtrusively but steadfastly, they've been going about their business of goodwill and good fellowship. And many a sportsman, although he does not know it, owes a debt of gratitude to these public-spirited lovers of the outdoors. For the Trailblazers never go empty-handed. While these men find good comradeship on the trail, they are lending strong shoulders to a genuinely worthwhile project. Probing the wonders of the Cascade Mountain backcountry, they take time to check each hidden lake or stream. Never, they agree, shall they be satisfied until enough trout are planted to maintain good fishing for all other travelers in the high country. Since 1934, they have made 210 trout planting trips. On their backs, they have carried nearly 2 million young fish to lakes and streams which had been barren or in need of replenishing. Planting trips often take off in the wee, small hours of dawn, after the men have driven 90 miles or so and left their cars at the very end of some remote Forest Service road. Here they are met by representatives of a grateful state game department, who are glad to make it their business to be on hand with troutlings for the ambitious sportsman. By flickering lantern light, the tiny fish are measured into containers, which will carry them to their new and lofty homes. After 13 years of careful study, the Trailblazers know that trout should be but 3/4 of an inch long to best withstand the trip. They should be starved for 48 hours before they start their journey. And while the total pack of a trout planter weighs from 40 to 50 pounds, just 1 pound of fry should be carried in each container. And if you're curious, 1 pound of 3/4 inches means approximately 2,500 young fish. The matter of carrier containers has taken plenty of thought, too. The first cans were unpainted, and one sad night, the fry were held too long. They died of metallic poisoning. Later, it was discovered that a covering of wet burlap helped to keep the water cool. The newest wrinkle is to wrap the containers in cozy down jackets so that, like grandmother's teapot, they are protected against temperature changes from the outside. A young trout is a particular fellow. no matter how his steed may puff and perspire. He likes his water temperature between 48 and 50 degrees. So the summit-going sportsmen have worked out an obliging plan for his welfare. When the weather is warm, they carry ice, which is added to the containers from time to time. Or at high altitudes, they look for snowfields to simplify the cooling problem. Always they are alert for clear, running streams where stale water in the cans may be exchanged for a fresh, new supply. While all of this is going on, the finny travelers are anchored within their containers by a stout burlap cover. Burlap permits water to be poured in and out while it restrains the fish. The spacing of its coarse weave admits air to the cans. Constant movement of men hiking along the trail aerates the water, and so a steadfast rule on a planting trek is keep moving. But all things have their compensations. What a thrill when dawn catches up with them, to find themselves in high, magnificent country among crystal virgin lakes. Place to pause for a bite of food, a moment of rest. But who wants to rest when there are still new heights to climb? And this tired protester gets refreshed to spur him on his way. One way or another, a trailblazer is sure to get a boost from his fellow sportsmen. Now the group toils upward, skirting many lakes which have been planted in the past. Lakes one above the other, shimmering jewels, generally unseen but eternally resplendent, set in the crown of this great mountain range. Intricately joined by waterfalls, bordered by scrolls of sunlit rivulets. Copper Lake and Otter. Why don't we stop and have a drink? This has been a day. Let's lay out the base camp, while something new is being wafted across the scenic landscape. The aroma of bacon sizzling in a pan. Camp chores are mapped out, and woe be unto those who think they are too tired to maintain an air of enthusiasm around the campfire. And ways for reluctant trailblazers to be pepped up, even against their better judgment. No, this is no mummy, just a feller who needs a friend. He's all wrapped up in nice, cool canvas, and he's about to be dunked in the ice-bound lake by his thoughtful comrades of the trail. He thinks that he's very, very tired, but eager hands lay him in the cradle of the deep. Wait, something must have happened. Everybody's in the deep. We need a valet, or a barber, or is there a doctor on this mountainside? Yes, it's time to rise and shine. Roll up the sleeping bags, pack them for another day. It's nice to get up in the morning. Say, what are you doing in bed? My, we'll have to have a little eye-opener out of the fish cans. But for absolute deluxe accommodation for the morning ablutions, we give you a mountain-bordered lake with plenty of cold running water. Leg of the journey will be negotiated by rubber boats. Yes, the boats came up the trail on someone's back. But here, at Big Heart Lake, 6,000 feet above sea level, they are mighty useful for transporting heavy gear. The boats are loaded to the scuppers. Let's not anybody sneeze. What a grateful respite from scaling precipitous walls. Just sit at comparative ease and let the majestic scenery slip behind. The men in their bouncing conveyance look unbelievably dwarfed by the towering ramparts of the lake. They know that before many hours have gone by, they will have scouted the sleeping snowfields and conquered the lofty barriers which stand between this milestone and the uncharted wilderness that leads to lakes still higher, on past the broken crags. Through age-old forests. Through tunnels on the ice-clad slopes like marmots blinking in the sun. Until, at last, perched snugly against the clouds, parts of its surface still covered by ice, although it is late July. Lake Chetwoot. Here is a cool spot for lunch, and here tests are made by a game department biologist. Checks that determine the acidity of the water. Surveys to judge the trout desirability of the lake. Well, so the fry are planted. They are not dropped or dumped into their new home. First, the containers are tempered, left to rest and acquire the temperature of the future habitat. Men wait patiently, The fry are allowed to swim out at leisure. When the last young fish is in the lake, the sportsmen start their homeward trek. To every trailblazer, it's worth the tedious trip up to have the rollicking fun of coming down. Some people might scoff, all this fuss and bother. What does it get a man besides blisters on his heels and aches in his muscles? Such people have never had the satisfaction of finding themselves by their own efforts in a land of enchantment, far above the din and rabble of the workaday world, even far above the steepest mountain trails. The trials of the expedition are soon forgotten in the thrill of achievement and the bond of good fellowship, the knowledge that something worthwhile has been added because they traveled there. Yes, hard going makes loyal brothers on the trail, and difficult achievements make satisfactions for the soul.